It's always funny when you think about it. When somebody finds out you have a boat, they get really excited. For some reason, they just think that boats are a good time. They think that us boaters just sit out there in the water, catching some rays, sipping Mai Tais, enjoying life. But it is not always that way on a boat. Welcome back, guys. It is your boy Broncos Guru, and it's this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. Our first event to make the boating news this week is one of those events that could only really happen in Miami. Well, I shouldn't say it could only happen in Miami, but when you hear the story, the first thing that's going to come to mind is that was probably in Miami. Apparently, this gentleman you see right here racing away from the authorities was hanging out over at Oliver Sandbar when he got pulled over. All of a sudden, after a little inspection, authorities realized this man was a wanted man by the U.S. Marshal Service. As soon as this gentleman realized he was about to get a lot more than a slap on the wrist for going through a no-wake zone too fast, he took off and led the police on a chase all across Miami's waterways until he finally ditched the skis about 20 miles north of Miami. As soon as he stepped foot on land, police saw him and arrested him. Speaking of Miami, the biggest news to hit the boating news this week, we've started a new channel. It's called Miami Boat Ramps and it is dedicated to the craziness that ensues down there in Miami at the boat ramps. I'll leave a link to the channel in the description below. Be sure to go over there and check it out. Also be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell. The first video airs on Friday and we're going to do some giveaways over there, so you're going to want to know when it starts. Our next item to make the boating news this week is going to take us up to New York and the Bronx, where over by Hammond Cove Marina, this vessel caught on fire. For being one of the news capitals of the world, we really don't do a whole lot of news stories about New York on this channel.
Send us the Broncos, Guru.
Thanks for the send. I do love it when you guys send me these stories. They do wind up getting this vessel put out, and it does appear that nobody was injured. The cause of the fire is still under investigation at this time. The next story we'll see on Boating News this week is kind of a crazy one. It also has to do with a fire, and it's where a young lady was fueling her vessel over in Ponza, Italy. Here we can see her fueling the vessel, and at this point everything appears to be okay. I'm still not 100% sure exactly what goes wrong here, but something definitely goes wrong. She'll begin to pull the fuel line out and she'll hand it back to the attendant, and just shortly after she does that, something ignites. Whatever it was, I'm not 100% sure. There are definitely several things that could have happened here. One, you're going to see a gentleman jump off the back of this boat who was still on there in the black. He was actually standing at the helm. What I'm imagining likely happened, she finished fueling, handed the fuel pump back to the attendant. Our captain here in the black went ahead and started the boat without the blower on. Just another reminder to go ahead and run that blower for a few minutes before you try starting the vessel. I'll tell you what, the Coast Guard's really been on fire with this stuff lately. Right here we're about to watch the Coast Guard crews intercept a suspected drug smuggling vessel in the drug transit zone of the Eastern Pacific Ocean. When I say on fire, the Coast Guard crews have seized more than 26,000 pounds of drugs worth an estimated $390 million through over 13 separate events off the coast of Mexico, Central America, and South America here recently. I always find these stories interesting because I never really think of the Coast Guard as being a policing type force. Typically when most of us here in the US think about the Coast Guard, we think about them as more of a search and rescue type mission where somebody gets lost at sea or has a mechanical issue far offshore. These guys are the guys that get called in to go out there and make the rescue and help find them, but they're also doing these kind of things, which is awesome as well. Speaking of the Coast Guard doing awesome things, I ran across some video footage that I hadn't seen in a while, but I don't believe we ever aired it over here, so I figured what a great time to do a nice little rewind, especially showing the last clip. This is video footage from one of the larger drug busts the Coast Guard did last year. Here we'll actually see the Coast Guard crews intercept this semi-submersible vessel, and they're actually going to board it. In the end, when they finish taking this vessel down, they wound up getting more than 39,000 pounds worth of drugs, worth an estimated $569 million. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening in your waterways, be sure to hit me up on Facebook or Instagram and let me know, and you might see your stories over here. And if you haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on that subscribe button. If you don't, I'm coming to steal your drain plug.